This video is going to discuss how to do calculations in the spreadsheet. And so on this sample spreadsheet, we have a number of calculations written in typical algebraic fashion over here. And we want to show how to enter that into a spreadsheet so that the calculations can be done. So this first one here shows how to convert from degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So what you do is you take Fahrenheit, you subtract 32 degrees, and you multiply by 5/9. And so if we were going to look at these three values, we wanted to do the calculations there. We would start by entering in our cell here. I'll enlarge this to make it a little bit easier so you can see what I'm actually typing. And so again, we start our formula there with an equals. So we say equals there. And then we're going to say the parentheses of the degrees Fahrenheit. So the degrees Fahrenheit happens to be in B6. So we're going to say equals B6. So we want B6 and we want to subtract 32 degrees from it. We then put the parentheses around it and we multiply by 5/9. So we multiply by 5 and we divide by 9. All right, so this formula here, you can see it up here as well in the formula bar. B6, that's going to give you whatever the degrees Fahrenheit, which is unfortunately hidden right by this purple pullout here. Subtract 32 degrees because the two have degrees Celsius and standard, or their points are freezing the water off by 32 degrees. And you multiply by 5/9. So when you enter that right there, it says, oh, okay, your temperature is 100 degrees. So 212, which is boiling in Fahrenheit, is the same thing as 100 degrees Celsius when you do the conversion. Now, what's cool is when you click on a conversion like this, if you look in the lower right-hand corner, if I drag this down, I've then just copied that formula over here. Notice if I click on this, it says B7 minus 32. So go down to B7, and then you'll notice that everything in this formula here is the same as in the preceding formula, with the exception of the fact that we're dealing with B7 as opposed to B6. It did a relative copy throughout. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you just to complete the rest of the calculations on this page using the formulas here. In other words, just try to figure out how I would represent that algebraically. So the object in free fall, that's 1/2 gt squared. Here's g, here's t. So you'd solve it for the first one here and then just copy it down. For this, the universal law of gravitation, again, it's just g times m1 over m2. So there's m1 and m2 divided by r squared. And finally, for the statistics one we have right here, you're going to put in calculations that are going to require some various commands. And so I'm going to say equals sum, put the parentheses here. What do I want the sum of? I want the sum of this entire range. So I highlight that range. And that's going to give me the sum. Now what you want to do for these remaining ones is just say equals, and then max, min, average, and standard deviation of that same range. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that in and just see how it'll enter the actual function. In other words, there's a function for the maximum of a range, the minimum of a range, and so forth. So again, if we look at this equation right here, and I'm going to view here as formulas so we can see what's hidden behind it, we can see that I just said equals sum. Sum is the name of a command in a spreadsheet. And then parentheses B25, that was the first one in the range. Colon indicated I'm dealing with the range. In other words, from the first cell to the last cell. So I went equals sum B25 colon B31. I want the sum of this range. So by analogy, I'd like you to do ones for the max, the min, the average, and the standard deviation of this exact same range. All right, you can skip this last one here, which is escape velocity. But that gives you an introduction to some basic equations, how to enter equations into your spreadsheet. And then you can go over to this one right here, and you can try some more on this one here. So again, here's some simple formulas. F equals ma. So we'd say, okay, well, there's mass and there's acceleration. So I'll say equals, and now I say mass, which is this one right here, times acceleration, which is this right here. And that's all I had to do, is because that was what it was saying. It was saying force equals mass times acceleration. And when I enter that, it will give you the value. I just change this over here back to turn the formulas off, and there's the value. And so we can see that these things they look complex, but they're not. It's a matter of just, looking at the basic algebra and just trying your equations and so forth. So again, the purpose here is not to teach the science behind this, or not even to teach the math so much, but the way to represent math, whatever calculation you're doing, in a spreadsheet form. Okay, so just working on the calc quiz and the speeds quiz, and then just submit that.